10 stunning cheating case of top players. Your idol could be on the list. Let's check it now. Wayne Rooney, England's once golden boy, had a career that seemed too flawless to be true until the tabloids dug up a shocking secret, his notorious infidelity. The scandal started back in 2009 when a 21-year-old prostitute, Thompson, claimed she had been sleeping with the Manchester United star while his wife, Coleen, was pregnant with their first child. Just when you thought the drama couldn't get worse, it turned out that Rooney wasn't just seeing Thompson, but had also been involved with another prostitute, Helen Wood. And if that wasn't enough, it later came out that he had paid Thompson to keep quiet about their affairs. But here's the kicker. Despite all of this, Coleen forgave him. Yes, the same woman who had stood by him through thick and thin, publicly humiliated by the revelations, chose to stay. It was a classic case of public shame and private reconciliation. Fast forward to today, Rooney and Coleen are still together, raising their children in what seems like a picture-perfect family life. But the damage to his image, unforgivable for many. John Terry, the Chelsea legend and former England captain who lost more than just his place in the national team, he lost his reputation. In 2010, the world discovered Terry's extramarital affair with Vanessa Parencel, the ex-girlfriend of his former teammate Wayne Bridge. It was a betrayal that cut deep, not just in terms of Terry's marriage to Tony Poole, but also in the locker room. Bridge, the guy who was supposed to be his teammate, didn't just feel the sting of the affair, he felt it in the form of a career blow. Terry's actions were so disgraceful that Bridge withdrew from the England squad for the 2010 World Cup in protest, and Terry was eventually stripped of his England captaincy. Now let's be real, Terry tried to salvage his reputation by issuing a public apology and claiming he had messed up his marriage. Yet no amount of apologies could undo the public humiliation, especially when Tony decided to stand by her man. Despite the affair, Terry later admitted in interviews that the scandal had a long-lasting impact on his personal life, but it was clear some things can never be forgiven, no matter how many trophies you win. When you think of Ryan Giggs, you think of skill, longevity, and apparently a seriously complicated love life. The Welsh wizard who spent his entire career at Manchester United was, for years, seen as the perfect footballing icon. But behind the scenes, it was a different story. Giggs' affair with his brother Rodri's wife, Natasha, was a bombshell no one saw coming. It turned out that Giggs had been seeing Natasha for 8 long years, all while maintaining a marriage to his wife, Stacey. The affair came to light in 2011, just after a particularly explosive tabloid expose. Giggs, of course, tried to play the innocent card, claiming the affair was a private matter. But what the media couldn't ignore was the sense of betrayal. This scandal was a slow burn. Giggs' reputation, once as untouchable as his footballing legacy, took a serious hit. His brother Rodri was understandably devastated, and in a tearful interview, he spoke about the impact of Giggs' actions on their family. And while Giggs remained married to Stacey for several more years, the relationship was doomed. The damage had been done. In the end, Giggs was never quite able to shake off the stigma of his affair. His name became synonymous with betrayal and scandal. Let's talk about Kyle Walker, the Manchester City defender who got caught up in a scandal that left fans and his own family stunned. In 2019, during a time when he was being hailed as one of the Premier League's best defenders, Walker was living a double life. The revelation? Walker had 2 secret children with 2 different women while he was in a relationship with his long-term partner, Annie Kilner, who was already pregnant with their 4th child. How did this all come to light? Well, it wasn't exactly subtle. The 2 women involved, Lauren Goodman and another unnamed woman, made sure the media knew about their children. And while Walker tried to do the whole private matter routine, it was clear that he had been living a life of lies. The public scandal was made worse by the fact that his long-term partner, Annie, was heartbroken. She had stuck by him through thick and thin, only to find out that he was seeing other women behind her back. For a while, Walker kept quiet, hoping the storm would blow over. But you can't keep a good scandal down. As a result, his image suffered, and his private life was laid bare for everyone to see. The damage to his personal life was so severe that it even seemed to affect his game at one point. He did manage to reconcile with Annie eventually, but you can bet it wasn't without a lot of hard work and apologies. Last but certainly not least, we have Karim Benzema, the Real Madrid striker who was caught in one of the most bizarre scandals in football history, the blackmailing of his French teammate Mathieu Valbuena. The story begins with an illicit video. Valbuena had recorded an intimate moment, and when Benzema found out about it, he allegedly urged Valbuena to pay a group of blackmailers in order to prevent the video from being released. This was shocking enough, but it got even worse. The scandal became public, and Benzema was accused of being part of the blackmail plot. Benzema's role in the affair tarnished his image, especially especially in his home country. Despite being one of the best strikers in the world at the time, his involvement in this scandal kept him out of the French national team for several years. Benzema denied any wrongdoing, but the fallout from the scandal was undeniable. In fact, it wasn't until 2021 that he was recalled to the French squad after years of public shunning. When we talk about Ashley Cole, the first thing that comes to mind is his incredible career with Chelsea and the England national team. But off the pitch, let's just say things were a little messier. Known for his aggressive defending and impressive footballing skills, Cole's reputation took a major hit when it came to his personal life. The scandal, his notorious affairs that ended his marriage with pop singer Cheryl Tweedy, now Cheryl Cole. While married, Cole was caught cheating multiple times, the most infamous of which was with an unnamed woman in 2008, while Cheryl was busy preparing for her big career moments. The whole saga hit its peak in 2010 when Cheryl filed for divorce. The public drama was undeniable. Cheryl had been the nation's sweetheart, and her fans were devastated by the betrayal. The tabloids had a field day with the affair, with photos and stories plastered across the papers. But it didn't stop there. In fact, it seemed like cheating was almost a habit for Cole. In 2012, he was again caught in an affair with another woman just after the dust had settled from the first scandal. The fallout from these incidents was brutal. Both Cole's footballing career and personal life were put under a microscope. The damage was done, and his image, once polished and heroic, was now forever tarnished by his repeated infidelities. While Cole tried to maintain his composure in interviews, the emotional toll was evident. Cheryl, on the other hand, emerged as a strong and resilient woman, rebuilding her career and love life. As for Ashley, he continued playing for clubs like Chelsea and LA Galaxy, but the scandal would always follow him like a dark cloud. Despite the later reconciliations and attempts to put things right, his legacy was forever intertwined with his personal failures. Let's shift gears and talk about the legend that is Thierry Henry. Known for his elegance on the pitch, Henry was revered not just as one of the greatest players of his generation, but also as a gentleman off it, until the whispers about his extramarital affair started. Henry, who had been married to model Claire Mary, found himself caught in a whirlwind scandal when it came out that he was cheating with model Sadie Hewlett in 2007. The affair was the culmination of a troubled marriage that was already in the public eye. But the affair wasn't just about a betrayal of his wife, it was the sheer public spectacle of it all. Henry, who had enjoyed adoration from millions of fans, found himself at the center of a media storm. The press didn't let him off the hook, especially when Claire and Henry's once perfect marriage was shattered. What was meant to be a fairy tale romance quickly became a tragic, real-life soap opera. The divorce was inevitable, and Henry's reputation, once squeaky clean, was marred by the scandal. He tried to move on with his new relationship, but the damage to his image as a family man and the national hero was irreversible. People had a hard time seeing him in the same light after that, and while he continued his career and moved into punditry, the affair would forever cast a shadow over his once pristine legacy. Frank Lampard is another English footballer whose reputation was affected by a series of messy relationships. Known for his goal-scoring ability and leadership, Lampard's private life was anything but perfect. After his high-profile breakup with Spanish TV presenter Ellen Rivas, his personal life took a bit of a hit, especially when rumors began swirling about him being involved with other women during their time together. But it wasn't until his relationship with Christine Bleakley that things really kicked off in the drama department. In 2010, while Lampard was still married to Ellen, he was publicly linked to Christine, a popular TV personality. Though the affair wasn't exactly a public spectacle at first, the whispers of betrayal were there. It wasn't just a brief fling, it was a full-on relationship, and it wasn't long before the tabloids latched onto it. But what made it even more interesting was that Frank didn't exactly hide it. He didn't try to pretend that he was still with Ellen, he just moved on, and quickly. The fact that he'd moved from one relationship to another with what seemed like little regard for the past made the whole affair even juicier for the media. By the time his relationship with Christine became more public, Frank was already being criticized for the way he handled things. While some fans saw him as a man who followed his heart, others viewed him as nothing more than a serial heartbreaker. Frank and Christine eventually became engaged, but the shadow of his past love life, particularly the affair with Christine during his marriage, would follow him. If there's one name that always comes up when talking about footballing scandals, it's Antonio Cassano. The former Italian international, known for his fiery temper and controversial nature, had his fair share of drama off the pitch. Cassano's love life was as chaotic as his career. While he's undoubtedly one of the most talented players Italy has ever produced, his relationships were always in the headlines for the wrong reasons. Cassano's first high-profile affair occurred during his time at AS Roma when he was married to his childhood sweetheart, but it didn't take long for him to cheat, and it became became a regular theme throughout his life. Perhaps the most infamous of his infidelities came when he fathered a child with another woman while still married. The affair came to light in the early 2000s and created a massive scandal. He quickly became known not just for his undeniable talent, but for the circus that followed him everywhere he went. In the end, Cassano's antics off the pitch overshadowed his footballing legacy. His career was full of flashes of brilliance, but it's his off-field behavior, his string of affairs, public outbursts, and child with a mistress that people remember most. No matter how good a player he was, Cassano's reputation was always going to be tainted by his infamous personal life. Finally, we come to Olivier Giroud, the French striker who once was the golden boy of the national team. His career was on fire and his on-pitch performances were undeniably impressive. But Giroud's personal life, not so much. In 2014, just as Giroud was becoming a star in the Premier League, the world discovered that he had been cheating on his wife, Jennifer. The affair was reportedly with a model, and it came to light when explicit texts and photos were leaked. At first, Giroud tried to brush it off, but the media didn't let him off the hook. His personal life became fodder for every gossip magazine, and soon the world saw a different side of the usually composed French forward. His marriage to Jennifer was rocked by the scandal, but in a surprising twist, the two decided to stay together. Being well-spoken striker being caught up in such a scandal. Giroud may have carried on playing for his club and country, but the affair would always be part of his story, reminding us that even the most polished stars can have their secrets.